So lovely good evening and welcome to QTV 7 p.m. News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. President Lungu has appointed a commission of inquiry to examine the causes of the political violence before and after the August pause. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has disclosed that the ruling PF is plotting to send cadres to attack President Lungu with a view to implicate him as being responsible for the attack. About 70 people are dead and 300 others injured after an overloaded train derailed in central Cameroon. Hello once again, the news in detail. President Edgar Lungu has appointed a commission of inquiry to examine the causes of the political violence before and after the 11th August 2016 general elections. The head of state has since tasked the commission to submit its report within 120 days from the date of the appointment. President Lungu has named the inquiry in accordance with the Inquiries Act. The Commission of Inquiry will also inquire into the voting patterns between 2006 and 2016 and the root causes of these patterns. The inquiry will also examine to what extent the pre-election political violence could have influenced the voting patterns in the 11th August 2016 general elections. Among other matters, the inquiry will examine the role of political parties, traditional rulers, and the media in shaping voting patterns and instigating of violence, among others. Some of the appointed members include Justice Munalula Lisimba as the chairperson, Mavis Chisanga as vice chairperson, Nzovwa Chomba as secretary, while Mike Mulabe as deputy secretary. Others are Father Laston Lupupa, Charles Kafunda, Lee Hawasonda, Ruben Lefoka, Dr. M.C. Walia, Maureen Simulele Treasure, Professor Owen Sichone, Redson Nyanga, Flora K. Moya, Sina Chifuntambo, and Wilfred Chilufya. This is contained in a statement made available to QFM News by Special Assistant to the President for Press and Public Relations, Amos Chanda. United Party for National Development UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has disclosed that the ruling Patriotic Front is plotting to send cadres to attack President Edgar Lungu with a view to implicate him as being responsible for the attack. Addressing journalists during a press briefing at his residence today, Mr. Hichilema says he is aware of the ploy by the ruling PF to send their own cadres to attack President Lungu in public, and when arrested, they will say they were sent by Mr. Hichilema. Meanwhile, the UPND leader has described Vice President Inonge Wina's statement in Parliament that the opposition is wishing President Lungu death as irresponsible. He says the Vice President's remarks in Parliament yesterday when responding to Mazabuka's Central Member of Parliament Garin Kombo were misplaced and irresponsible. Mr. Hichilema says the UPND has no capacity to kill President Edgar Lungu and therefore the Vice President's remarks were unacceptable. He says Ms. Wina's statement had no truth in it and that it was a scheme of the Patriotic Front to eliminate President Lungu and blame it on the opposition.
Now, for many of you who may think this is an innocent comment. It's not innocent. First, Inonge Wina acted irresponsibly yesterday in Parliament. Completely irresponsibly. Reckless to make an insinuation that we in the UPND would like to see Edgar Lungu dead, indicating that we are about to kill him. Now, we are not voodoo men. How are we going to kill him? We're not voodoo men. We have no capacity to kill him. This is serious. This is not a joke. We have no capacity to kill him. They are the ones that are controlling, in my view, illegally, the state apparatus. So how is it that we can see Edgar Lungu dead? So that is irresponsible from.
And Mr. Hichilema states that the Commission of Inquiry appointed by President Lungu to examine the causes of political violence before and after the elections is a waste of public resources.
We've established, not fully, we have over 5,000 of our members in detention or on bail or on police bond across the country. Victims of political marginalization. We've never seen this in this country before. Never, ever. And it now sets up a commission of inquiry to justify arresting our people. Just release our people. Edgar Lungu, just release our people. They don't belong to those jails. Look at the brutality. Unprecedented in the history of our country. Unprecedented state-sponsored brutality. That takes me to a point where I'm saying, if Lungu is sick, and he can be sick, because all of us can be sick, we're human. It is up to the government, not government, it's up to Inonge Winner to just inform Parliament.
Former Labour Minister Faxon Shamenda has called on all trade unions in Zambia to offer checks and balances to government than opposing each and every decision it is making. And Mr. Shamenda, who is also a Zambia Congress of Trade Unions ZCTU Honorary Life President, is happy that the new Labour Minister Joyce Nonde will deliver according to the expectations of the unions and workers in the country. Mr. Shamenda says unions are democratic organizations and has since urged Mrs. Nonde to listen whenever they call for negotiations. Mr. Shamenda says unions must ensure that they remain non-partisan in order to offer guidance to government. He is urging the labor movement not to forget the purpose why they were formed, but must remember that they have a role to play in the development of the country by ensuring that advice given on how to build better economies, communities and societies are given. Meanwhile, Mr. Shamenda says there is need for all trade unions in Zambia to merge in ensuring that they provide very important role in providing direct direction for the economic challenges the country is facing. The Labour Institute of Zambia is spearheading the merger of all trade unions in Zambia, including the Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, and the Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, FFTUZ.
The society is dynamic and the issues are changing from the way it is important that we look at the way we used to approach the trade unionism from the time, as I said earlier, during the struggle for independence, during the struggle for democratization, issues have changed. So it is important that the union leaders, we have a different approach in the view that we have got to look at the social and economic dynamics of what is taking place in the country at the moment, so that we are more of partners in development. There is nowhere, anywhere in the world where a country will develop without labor. And in particular, if you recognize the importance of organized labor, then the development becomes much easier. So it is important that we remain independent, we remain non-partisan as a trade union movement in order to offer guidance and checks and balances to whoever who is in government. You know, governments come and governments go. The ZCTU was created in 1961. How many political parties have we had in 1966, since we are celebrating 50 years of its creation? We have had UNIP, we have had MMD, now we have got PF. We don't know where we're going, but the workers' organizations are permanent and they will remain permanent. So it is important that we are able to safeguard them jealously so that they are able to play that important role in the improvement of the well-being, not necessarily of the working people per se.
This is QTV 7 p.m. News. We'll take our first commercial break. We'll be back.
Aquamax Healthy Drinking Water, a quality product from Californian Beverages.
Hummingbird, nature's gift, a quality product from Californian Beverage.
No, I can't stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down.
Welcome back. The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD, has urged government to take advantage of the prevailing situation within SADC region to generate the much-needed revenue. CTPD Acting Executive Director Isaac Mwaipopo has observed that despite Zambia having demonstrated resilience to the changing weather patterns, Zambia has continued to pursue policies that discourage investment in the agricultural sector. Mr. Mwaipopo says some of those policies include the imposition of export bans done through administrative delays or through the use of statutory instruments. He says this has in many marketing seasons triggered a rise in illicit maize trade done through some of the country's porous border posts. Mr. Mwaipopo says his organization has observed with concern the continued reports of smuggling of maize through the border posts such as Danida and Mwami border, attributing the continued smuggling of maize to stronger external demand forces as there is huge demand for Zambian maize from deficit neighboring countries like Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe and the Democratic Republic of Congo. He says Zambia is one of the few countries within SADC that currently has sufficient maize to meet its domestic consumption demands as well as surplus that could be sold on the export market. He told QTV News in a statement that on the other side, Zambia is currently faced with a number of economic and social challenges as rightly highlighted by the Minister of Finance Felix Mutati when he presented the ministerial statement on the state of the economy and planned economic recovery programs. He points out that extreme rural poverty in Zambia now stands at 57% growth of the economy and has slowed and is currently projected to hang around 3 to 3.6% for 2016. This is far below the economic growth rate target needed if Zambia is to reduce the persisting high levels of poverty. And Mr. Mwaipopo says the removal of subsidies will impact the agriculture sector negatively. He says the agriculture sector has been facing the high costs of production and the removal of subsidies will be an additional cost on production.
Cost of transport as well as the costs of farming inputs. And if Zambia is to become competitive in a sector like the agriculture sector, as well as enhancing its level of contribution to the economy, there would be need to work around reducing the cost of production. And one of the key areas that we need to be focused on is the cost of the commodity like fuel.
The Opposition Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD, has charged that the Commission of Inquiry that has been appointed by President Edgar Lungu will yield no positive results but waste public funds. And the opposition political party says the composition of this inquiry is not even representative enough. FDD spokesperson Antonio Mwanza says Zambians know the causes of violence and there is no need to waste taxpayers' money looking for answers that are already known. Mr. Mwanza questions how many commissions of inquiry the PF has set up in the last 5 years of their tenure, saying they have not yielded any positive results and just wasting time and public resources. Mr. Mwanza says in the appointment of the members, the president should have also appointed political parties' representatives who themselves are the cause and victims of political violence. He says this is just another academic exercise that will take the country nowhere, but will surely put more money in the pockets of those members sitting on it. Meanwhile, the Barotse National Freedom Alliance, BNFA, has called on President Lungu to disband the Commission of Inquiry appointed to probe the causes of the political violence before, during and after the August pause. BNFA First Trustee William Harrington told QTV News that this is because all the past commissions of inquiry have not yielded any positive results. Mr. Harrington points out that the Commission of Inquiry on the Mongo disturbances as led by Dr. Roger Chongwe has up to now not been made public. He recalls that Vice President Inonge Wina on the floor of the House assured the nation that the Roger Chongwe Commission of Inquiry report will be made public, saying this has not been honored by the PF government. Mr. Harrington says instead of wasting public funds on such inquiries, it is important that funds meant to pay the members are channeled to other needy areas. He says it is for this reason that President Lungu considers to disband this commission, also putting into consideration the current economic challenges facing the country.
A year or two ago, Her Honor the Vice President, Lomukwai Inonge Wina, assured the nation and the whole world on the floor of the House that government, as she put it, would publish the report when it is published. What we have witnessed is a deafening silence on the part of government over the publication or non-publication of the Dr. Roger Chongwe report. So these commissions of inquiry, which are at great cost to the Zambian taxpayer, become mere academic exercises if, at the end of the day, the findings and the recommendations of these reports are not made public. Surely, we as a poor country, where ministries are not being funded at the moment, civil servants are not being paid on time, we have serious environmental challenges in the compounds, or so-called high-density areas or shanty compounds. Chawama itself has 40,000 pit latrines and an equal number of wells where people draw water for drinking and for other domestic use. Surely, could we not divert our meager resources, prioritize areas like the environment, so that our people who are living in abject poverty can live better and healthier lives? I really believe that we can make better use of our public resources.
The Network of Zambian People Living with HIV and AIDS, NZP Plus, has appealed to government to increase the budgetary allocation towards the procurement of antiretroviral drugs in the 2017 national budget. Acting Programs Manager Fred Chongo says in the past, the country witnessed shortages of drugs, and so it is important that this year a fair share is allocated to the procurement of ARVs to avoid shortages. And Mr. Chongo says people living with HIV have continued to face a number of challenges, especially those with accessing health services. He says government should thus make operational the health posts that it has put up and equip them with drugs and other facilities that people living with HIV need. Mr. Chongo says especially people living with HIV in rural areas are facing a lot of challenges which need attention.
Sometimes it's a long waiting hours in the health facilities. So when I talk about long distances to health services, I'm implying that these people living with HIV are coming from distant places to go and access these services. So they take a lot of time to go and access these services to long distances. Sometimes they don't even manage to go and get the services due to long distances.
This is QTV News. We'll take our second break. Stay tuned.
Brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Oh, the sky comes falling down. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I'm far from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Hello, you're watching Cube Business. This time around, we are at Oka Deco Office Furniture Store, Oka Trends. Here, you can get the very best of office furniture at very affordable prices. Now, these tables are executive, and I know that's definitely what's best for your office. Now, if you're looking to get yourself into the executive mood anywhere in your house, and I mean anywhere, Oka Deco is definitely the place to be for you. You can get to Oka Deco and get the very best of climbing material. If you're looking to get yourself a pedestal pan or maybe a tumbler holder, a paper holder, this is definitely the place to be. After a busy day at work, now the best thing that you can get home to is a luxurious bed. And this you can get at Oka Deco. You can get all this at very affordable prices, and you will definitely enjoy your rest and be ready for the next day. Ladies love matching things, from matching clothes to matching curtains, but at Oka Deco you can get matching curtains regardless of what color your home is, because there's a wide variety of curtains regardless of what color your home is. You can get any type of curtain at Oka Deco. Oka Deco, along Kafua Road.
There are moments in our lives that live forever. Moments like witnessing the thunderous call of a natural wonder, or experiencing the roar of the wilderness as its residents come to life, and the lively slither of a river teeming with untamed wildlife. There are moments in our lives that live forever. Moments like experiencing the adrenaline rush of close encounters with nature's thrills. The exquisite indulgence of luxurious treats kissed by the radiance of the African sky. The rhythmic movement of a people in celebration, whose tranquility and peace touch the hearts of those they encounter. There are moments in our lives that live forever. Many of them begin here. Zambia, one destination, a million adventures. Zambia, let's explore.
Welcome back. The Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, ZCCB, has clarified on concerns raised by some parents regarding the proposed construction of the shopping mall near St. Mary's Secondary School in Woodlands, Lusaka, that are unfortunately and maliciously being transmitted, especially on social media. ZCCB Secretary General Father Cleophas Lungu tells QFM News in a statement that the land in question belongs to the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, while St. Mary's Secondary School belongs to the Archdiocese of Lusaka and is standing on the land belonging to the Archdiocese of Lusaka, which borders with a plot belonging to ZCCB. Father Lungu says after a due process of consultation and reflection, the conference has decided to lease its piece of land to a developer in view of realizing its potential for investment, as this particular land has remained undeveloped for time immemorial. He says it is not true that the shopping mall shall be built on St. Mary's Secondary School grounds or land, but on the Bishop's Conference land, which borders with the plot belonging to the Archdiocese of Lusaka, where St. Mary's School is situated. He adds that the conference is aware that the developer of the said land shall put in place mitigation measures that will address the possible impact of the project with regards to the welfare of both the pupils and St. Mary's Secondary School itself. Father Lungu says it is not true that the proposed development will suppress or deprive the sporting activities from the school, adding that to the contrary, the developer will put up an upgraded sports field and a modern swimming pool to be used by the school and the seminary. The ZCCB General Secretary has undermined the fact that the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops and the Catholic Church in general will not divert from its mission of complementing the efforts of government by offering quality education, especially to a girl child. He says the Church will always endeavor to contribute towards national development through its social ministry, which includes running mission schools. The Ministry of Home Affairs has advised Zambians to celebrate this year's independence peacefully. Ministry of Home Affairs spokesperson Moses Suwali says Zambians should avoid any form of crime, citing that the police will be on high alert. He says people should understand the meaning of independence and celebrate it in a manner that is befitting the day. Mr. Suwali says all lawbreakers during the commemoration and during the events leading to the day will be brought to book and dealt with. He says Zambia should portray the spirit they portrayed during the National Day of Prayer, where no cases of crime were recorded.
They should know the meaning of the importance of celebrating the independence celebrations. Avoid excessive drinking of alcohol, avoid driving while it's drunk, avoid any form of theft. If at all there is any period that people should desist from stealing, at least for now, it's this period that we're getting throughout to the festive period. So let's be safe, let's avoid every form of sin, including theft, so that you know.
Lusaka Province Minister Japhet Mwakalombe has warned people against acquiring or occupying land illegally, saying they will face the full wrath of the law. Mr. Mwakalombe says it is only government through the Office of the Commissioner of Lands who is responsible for allocating land. Mr. Mwakalombe says government will not spare anyone in the country selling plots illegally without proper documentation. He says the conditions of getting land is very clear, saying it is unfortunate that some people have continued to do wrong things. Mr. Mwakalombe has urged the people to follow the right procedure when procuring land and avoid engaging in illicit activities such as corruption.
I will not support anyone who is involved in illegal activity, especially of land. The people of Lusaka have cried enough in terms of land invasion, and we cannot continue having people, even when you have advised, even when the condition of getting lands are very clear. We have local authorities When the local authorities advertise for land, you go and apply. What people should be doing today is, Minister of the province, I have applied land, but I'm not getting that land. However, I have seen that somebody else has been given the land. Help us. And as opposed to what is happening, it's very unfortunate that today we are still fighting to legalize certain compounds in the city. It is not correct that we should continue doing wrong things so that the government can legalize. It's not good. We have the planning authority here in the Lusaka province that plans how the Lusaka province is going to look like. We have the planning department under the local authority of Lusaka City Council, Chongwe Council, Kafiwe, all the 8 districts of Lusaka province. Therefore, it is very important that as we talk about acquiring land, let us follow the
We'll take another break. We'll be right back.
Discover new horizons and explore new destinations. Starting this September, Rwandair will connect you to Cotton from as low as 9,980 kwacha and to Abidjan for only 8,008 kwacha. Book now and enjoy a luxurious service coupled with unparalleled comfort. For more information, please call 0950-131-061 or 0968-345-259. Email sales.lusaka@rwandair.com or visit us at rwandair.com or contact your preferred travel agents. Terms and conditions apply.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
Have some Manzi Valley, pure and natural Manzi mineral. You can have it anytime, anywhere. Hey, Manzi mineral water.
DMI St. Eugene University provides effective modern delivery, teaching methodology, internationally accepted and placement-oriented curriculum. We also have pre-university and a twin in-program guild that allows final year students to study in India for a year. We also offer a 4-year bachelor's degree, 3-year diploma, 3-year master's and PhD programs for the School of Education, Business Administration, Commerce, Social Work and School of ITC. If you have grade 12 mock exam results, full grade 12 with 20 points or A-level qualification, enroll now for June intake 2016. We also offer 50% tuition concession to 2 grade 12 girl toppers among girls from each school. For more details, come to DMI St. Eugene University, Great North Road campus in Chibombo, or call us on 0977-613644 or email dmiseuzm@gmail.com. DMI, fully human, fully.
Welcome back. Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia has urged government to increase the 2017 national budget to the education sector. Betu's General Secretary Jeffrey Simuntala says government should allocate at least 20% of the funds set aside for the education sector in the country. He says education is fundamental to the development and growth in any country, hence the urgent need for government to increase the 2017 national budget to 20%. Mr. Simuntala notes that what was allocated to the education sector, about 64%, went to personal emoluments. He says the percentage that remained was too little to address the challenges the Ministry of General Education is facing.
Allocation to Ministry of Education, like before, I think our appeal to the Minister of Finance and to the government is to look at the issue of allocating at least 20% of the budgetary allocation should go towards education, because education is very key. When you are talking about education, you are talking about something that borders on the development of any nation. So to us, that is in fact the global trend actually, and the government of the Republic of Zambia is also party to the many protocols I think they've signed concerning such issues, especially issues to do with education. So in terms of budgetary allocation, our appeal is to us, we are making to government is for them to at least allocate 20% of the total budget to Ministry of Education, because even what was allocated last year, you may realize that possibly about between 64 or 68% went towards personal emoluments. And then when you look at the percentage that remained somewhere about 24 or 26, somewhere there, that was far too little in terms of the many challenges Ministry of Education.
Patriotic Front in Ngorere Ward 19 Councillor in Garden of Mandevu constituency Adrian Banda says he is optimistic that sanitation will be improved in trading areas. Mr. Banda says he is committed to deliver safe drinking water and adequate sanitation in line with the PF manifesto and Sustainable Development Goals commitments and beyond to reach all citizens, and also ensure school health clinics which will have access to clean drinking water, improved sanitation facilities with separate facilities for boys and girls. He says that water and sanitation is part of his agenda, as he promised during campaigns that water and sanitation will be his primary focus. Mr. Banda has noted that lack of information on health and hygiene in the area has caused frequent outbreaks of diarrhea diseases, resulting in sickness and death, especially amongst young children.
Look at the garbage collections. Garbage collection, again, we want to go for clean water in our communities. So it's our role as civic leaders, as Adrian, to sensitize my ward, the community at large, to teach people how to keep water clean and how to introduce them how to use the hand washing soap in every day, so that you reduce the infection. Diseases like cholera, which can cause the diarrhea. By this, as a leader to them, we work hand in hand with the local government and Ministry of Health to make sure that we upgrade and improve introducing of flushable toilets in our community. That is priority number one. Two, water. We must also improve the water system in our area. As you can see, it's a challenge, but we will try by all means with our stakeholders, through Ministry of Health, through local government housing, to make sure that by 2030 things are normalized, so that we reduce the infections.
Senior government officials have been urged to also sacrifice as the nation undergoes economic recovery adjustments. Former National Restoration Party NAREP Presidential Advisor David Kapoma is urging Cabinet to cut the fuel allowances given to ministers and other senior government officials as they remove the subsidies on fuel. Mr. Kapoma says it is unfair for the government officials to be entitled to huge fuel allowances when ordinary citizens are struggling to survive. He says as a matter of sacrifice on the part of the ministers, it is important that their fuel allowances are cut off, as also a measure of cutting on government expenditure. Meanwhile, Mr. Kapoma has advised Zambians to adjust to the economic adjustments made and avoid complaining on the removal of fuel subsidies. He says the removal of fuel subsidies on fuel and energy is needed in order to take back to the country's economy on its track.
Because they do get their fuel allowance, and that is converted into money. So they don't necessarily go to the filling station and refuel their cars, but that is converted into money. So for some people, while the rest of us are crying and complaining, for some people, it's a plus to them. They have benefited because then their allowances are going to increase. But I think even in the act of all this, even when all this is happening, we must now start realizing as citizens that the things that are happening are happening. There's no way whatsoever the government is going to rescind its decision. So what we have to do now, which is my advice to the Zambian people, is that we now need to adjust ourselves. We need to adjust our lifestyles. We need to get to have positive mindsets. Because what I've seen already is that many people are just complaining and we are busy pointing fingers and blaming one another. But that is not going to improve our lives. So what we need to do is that we need to have a positive mindset. We start doing the type of things that are going to ensure that we improve our lives. We need to be innovative. We need to adjust on the type of things that we've been doing so that we can begin having a type of life that is still balanced, even with the so many hardships that we are having as a country. But I would still urge the government and the government officials that when we are sacrificing as citizens, can they...
This is QTV 7 p.m. News. We take a look at some of the stories that have made headlines tonight. President Lungu has appointed a commission of inquiry to examine the causes of the political violence before and after the August polls. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has disclosed that the ruling PF is plotting to send cadres to attack President Lungu with a view to implicate him as being responsible for the attack. In international news, about 70 people are dead and 300 others injured after an overloaded train derailed in central Cameroon. Cameroon Transport Minister Edgar Alain Mebe Ngo says the train was carrying more passengers than usual when it derailed in Eseka yesterday. A bridge had collapsed over a nearby highway, forcing more people to seek rail transport. The cause of the deadly derailment was not immediately known. The 20-wagon train started having problems about 3 miles after leaving the Eseka station. And the President's office has said in a statement that an investigation is underway to determine the cause of the derailment. The U.S. Defense Secretary has arrived on an unannounced visit to Iraq to assess the progress of the offensive against the so-called Islamic State in Mosul. Ash Carter comes fresh from meetings with Turkish leaders in Ankara aimed at allowing Turkey to play a part in the Mosul operation despite Iraqi concerns. He has overseen a steady increase in U.S. troop numbers in Iraq this year. Iraq forces began a new attempt to recapture the town of Karakush near Mosul on Saturday. The town, which was formerly known for its large Christian population, is said to be largely empty, but it has mined the approaches to Mosul. Rescuers came to the aid of 3,300 migrants and refugees off the coast of Libya on Friday, the Italian Coast Guard has disclosed. The rescue was a coordinated effort by the Italian Coast Guard, the European Union Naval Force and non-governmental organizations. Italian news agency ANSA has reported that 7 bodies were also recovered during the rescue operation. Libya is a popular jumping-off point for migrants seeking to reach Europe from North Africa via what is known as the Central Mediterranean route. Well, join us at 10 p.m. for more news, but for more news again, you can visit qfmzambia.com. My name is Jeffrey Siambo. Bye-bye.